Today's the third week in a row. Assalamu alaikum, all my Insta cousins and all my Facebook and YouTube people. We are simul streaming on these Tuesday mornings, so you can feel free to join us on whatever platform helps you most, be it Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. But today we are going to dive into, so I'm committed to doing at least 30 minutes to an hour to dive into the book, to sort of like, I'm thinking out loud as I rewrite the book. And so the first week we did the preface, and the second week we did the introduction, and I talked a little bit about why I wrote the book and kind of like my history around health and wellness and how I grew up. You can scroll back on the profile and look at those if you need to. So today we are going to get in. I start the book right off with talking about what is the mR40 method and why I named it the mR40 method and what we do during the mR40 method. So mR40 method, it stands for Metabolic Reset in 40 Days. All right, so that is the mR. It is my method of helping women to break sugar addiction, balance their hormones, and lose weight. So here we are. We are on chapter 1 of the current book. All right. When I developed the mR40 method as a 40-day metabolic reset, mR40, a lot of people ask me what that means. I wanted to combine the most effective techniques for rapid weight loss in a way that makes them practical for anyone looking for a guaranteed method to shed excess fat while simultaneously improving their health. As a result of years of research and applying these methods to my own health and fitness journey and that of my clients, I created this program, which is based on 4 well-researched methods that has been scientifically proven to burn excess fat quickly and permanently while simultaneously improving various other health markers. So this was really, so side note from the book, this was really important to me, is that it not only helped one lose weight, but also helped to improve health, because weight is just one aspect of health. Weight does not mean that you are automatically healthy or unhealthy. It is just one marker of many markers that can indicate disease, mortality, ability to function, metabolic health. And so it was not just about weight for me. I think it's really important that we recognize that, because too often, right, even as a health and fitness coach, people come to me for weight loss because that is generally the first glaring sign, right? When we think about signs that gives us an indication of, hey, I need to do something about my health. Some people, they're like, I feel good, I look good, I'm just a big chick, thick thighs save lives, I'm awesome, all of that other great stuff, which is fine. Everybody should be comfortable in their body, but being comfortable in your body should not compromise your health. It is not one or the other. And then they never come to me, they just sort of like look at me like, okay, well, that ain't me and that ain't for me. Then the doctor tells them, I need to put you on cholesterol medicine, or you have diabetes. And then that changes the perspective. So everybody has their own wake-up call when it comes to health. And for some people, it's weight and it's looking in the mirror. And for other people, it's a doctor's office or a hospital visit, right? So everybody has their thing. So for me, it was important to write this book in a way that not just help people lose weight, but help people to understand that weight loss is just an indicator. All right. So what is the mR40 method? It is based on 4 concepts, right, that you apply in 40-day focus. That doesn't mean it only takes you 40 days to achieve this. It means that you really need to focus on these things for 40 consecutive days at minimum, right, in order to achieve the benefits of it. So the first thing is food timing, also called intermittent fasting. Some people call it time restricted eating. So food timing is consuming your calories in a specific timed eating window. You will not only optimize your body's ability to burn fat, but you will also reduce inflammation, increase vitality, balance hormone, and detox your body on a cellular level. So I am looking forward to getting into intermittent fasting because I am a true believer of intermittent fasting as a tool of healing oneself. But we're going to talk about that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So that's the first concept. And I put these concepts after doing this program for 5 years with almost 1,000 women now. I gotta count, but I think I might have to have a little celebration when I hit 1,000 women, right? So after doing this program with almost 1,000 women now, I know the order of importance of these things, and both in its effect on health and weight loss and its practicality. And I tell people the first and foremost is intermittent fasting. Your food timing is absolutely essential. What you eat is not as important as when you eat and how much you eat of it. All right. So, and it's crazy because I know that sounds insane because most people are like, oh no, you need to eat organic, you need to eat this, you need to eat that. And I think that given the world that we live in and the expense of getting all of these extra, this thing is alkaline, which that's a pet peeve of mine, but I'm not going to get into that because that's going to get me on a rant. Or this thing is organic, or this thing is genetically modified. For the average person, that simply puts barriers in front of them. That I can't do anything because everything is wrong, right? I don't care if all you can afford is McDonald's. If you started off with intermittent fasting, eating McDonald's, you would still improve your health, right? It's not ideal. It's not optimal. You're not going to become in tip-top shape, but it will improve your health. So when all else fails, intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating is always your go-to. It's always your default. The second concept of the book is macronutrient manipulation. So this is a concept. Well, let me read what the book says first, and then I'll ad lib. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're reading with the book. I'm thinking out loud of how I can ad lib, add more to help to convey these concepts in an even clearer manner. All right, so number 2 of the mR40 method is macronutrient manipulation. Using a nutritional ketogenic based plan, you will train your body to burn its own excess body fat as metabolic fuel. Once your body is adapted, I'll show you how to easily maintain this while enjoying delicious foods that you love, right? So macronutrient manipulation is a combination, or I should say it is phases of ketogenic eating and low carb eating. Both, they are not the same thing. And I really have to express that to people. Ketogenic eating and low carb are actually not the same thing. They both have its own benefits. They both have its place depending on where you are in your health journey, depending on what your daily activity is like, right? So an example of that is a person who is otherwise healthy but 30 pounds overweight, right? They may need a different macronutrient profile than somebody who is 50 pounds overweight and type 2 diabetic and taking metformin, right? Even though they both want to lose weight, they both join my program, I'm giving them 2 different macronutrient profiles. The person that's only 20 or 30 pounds overweight, maybe she has an injury to her knee and she can't move, but the person that's 50 pounds overweight has the ability to now adopt an exercise program that I give them. So that makes their macronutrient profile very different, right? And so I think that's one of the things that I want to improve in this book, to really show people, even without me, with just reading the book, that how to choose what is appropriate for you in your macronutrient manipulation. So that's number 2. I have the next thing as number 3, and this is a change, and I'm going to make a note to myself that in times of importance, I would actually prefer that to be I should order of importance. That should be number 4. So in order of importance, number 3 is metabolic reconditioning exercises, right? These movements are strategically used. So I'm going back to the book now. Strategically using high intensity movements, you will burn more fat in a shorter amount of time, have a higher metabolism over a 24-hour period, and improve your fitness level faster than any other form of exercise. So that's the number 3 of the mR40 method. Out of 4 method, number 3, it is how you move, right? There is high intensity interval training, which is a form of metabolic conditioning. And there is what we call steady state exercises. It's when you keeping a pace where you can keep that pace for an hour or more, right? So it's really interesting because a lot of people think like when they join a gym class, it says high intensity and they're going. I'll give nothing against steppers. I think you're amazing to be able to remember those combinations. But a step class is something that I think about where people think, okay, I'm doing this thing and it's high intensity, which means the intensity is high and I'm putting a lot of effort into it. But the fact that you can stay at that intensity for an entire hour makes it a steady state exercise for you, right? So that is the difference. A steady state is an average heart rate that you can maintain for more than 30 minutes. If you're doing high intensity interval training, which I have a particular protocol in my program, you should not be able to do that for more than 30 minutes. If you can do it for more than 30 minutes, then you're not doing it right. That means that you are underselling yourself. That means that you could have went harder, you could have went heavier, you could have pushed more. So if you do a 30-minute high intensity, and I'm talking about from the beginning of the work, so how do you apply this to if you go to a class at a gym, right? If they say that it's a high intensity interval training class and it's an hour slot, you're probably going to spend about 10-15 minutes warming up. That's not considered a part of the intensity. When the intensity starts, when the workout actually starts, it should not be more than 30 minutes. It should not, right? Because at 30 minutes, you should be spent. That's like the top of it, all right? So that is the third concept, right? How do you apply high intensity interval training to whatever fitness level that you're at, right? So I teach women no matter if they're 100 pounds overweight and they can't do a squat, or they're used to going hard doing CrossFit 3 times a week, right? How do you apply high intensity? I love high intensity interval training, and anybody who's ever trained with me in public, in person, they know what my protocol is, and they know that I've been doing this for 20 years, right? It's just such a great way for everybody, no matter what your fitness level is, to implement. And as a coach, it's really convenient and easy for me to take a group of women who are at different fitness levels and give them all a great workout at the same time, because everybody works at their own capacity. All right. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. We got a whole chapter on that. All right. So the fourth in order of importance. So let me read what I have and tell you how I'm going to change it. All right. So the fourth is fat burning, angiogenesis inhibiting foods. Incorporating metabolic enhancing angiogenesis inhibiting foods will encourage your body to reduce fat storage and maintain a healthy weight, allowing you to lose weight and keep it off. So angiogenesis inhibition is an area of scientific research. And within this area of scientific research, there is some very compelling evidence that eating certain foods that are high in angiogenesis inhibiting component will actually help you to lose weight and maintain that weight loss. But here is sort of kind of like where I'm going with the version 2. Angiogenesis inhibiting food isn't this area or this component of the mR40 method isn't just about angiogenesis inhibiting foods. It really is about making sure people get nutrient dense food, right? Many of which is angiogenesis inhibiting, so that they can have all of their nutrients in their diet. One of the things that I have found in teaching women primarily over the last 5 years of how to have a sustainable keto and low carb lifestyle is a lot of people come to me and they say, well, I've tried keto before, but my hair fell out. I tried keto before, but I didn't have any energy. I tried keto before, but this happened and I got a rash and I did. All of the things, literally, I would say 100% of all of the things that made people stop doing it was not due to the fact that you're not eating carbs and you're eating protein and fat. It was due to nutrient deficiency. Hair falling out is not something that is indicative of a well-formulated ketogenic diet. It is indicative of people not eating enough, people doing things like dirty keto, where they're just eating things because it fits in a macronutrient profile with no regard to how much nutrients is actually in that thing. And then over time, and not even a long time, over 3 months, 6 months, they then began to be deficient in a nutrient that causes these things. So I always sort of giggle a little bit to myself when I'm reading a blog or listening to a YouTuber or something like that that says, oh no, they don't do keto because this is what it does to you. This is what it does. Those are really people who have no idea about nutrition. They are following a fad diet. When you follow a ketogenic diet as a fad diet, oh, I'm just eating 20 grams of carbs a day, then nutrient deficiency happens. So the fourth component of my program is making sure you get nutrient dense foods, right? So I had one client who her reasoning for not wanting to reduce carbohydrates is because she needed to have rice every single day for the fiber. And I'm like, bruh, a half of avocado has more fiber than a cup of rice. Like literally. You could eat greens. You could eat, like, there's so many vegetables that are not only higher in fiber, but they're also higher in nutrients than rice and bread. So there is literally there's no vegetable, or I should say there's no grain that you need that its nutrients can't be substituted with a vegetable. And notice that I said vegetable and intentionally did not say fruit or vegetable. I believe that they are two separate categories, particularly when you are eating for health purposes. And one of the misnomers that we have is that we include them as one, and which makes people think if I eat a piece of watermelon, if I eat a pineapple, that is a substitute for eating a carrot, eating squash, eating greens. It's not a substitute for it, all right? Again, I'm getting off on a tangent. Let's get back to the rewrite of the book. So one note I have is we are going to actually change the order of importance of this. And we want this to be nutrient dense angiogenesis inhibiting foods. Okay. So each of these techniques alone has been shown to be effective, but together they make an unstoppable formula to rapidly lose weight. Nope, hold on. I'm not reading my own book. Each one of these techniques alone, and they shouldn't be techniques, they should be methods. Each one of these methods alone has been shown to be effective, but together they make an unstoppable formula to rapidly lose excess fat, increase energy, improve mental clarity, and boost overall health. The truth is, if you incorporated only one principle of this program into your everyday lifestyle, you would lose weight. If you added two principles to what you do on a daily basis, you would increase fat burn. When you incorporate all four aspects of the program together, the results the program create is a fat burning inferno. So those are the four concepts. Now you have all of the insight on what I do with my clients. Okay. So what makes the mR40 method different than other ketogenic programs? All right. So the ketogenic diet is in general different from Atkins by focusing on fat consumption and limiting protein. However, I found that many ketogenic diets, even the fairly decent plans, are based solely on macronutrient proportions with little concern given to the quality of the food eaten. That's why you see so many keto meals using bacon and other processed meats. The mR40 method is not just about eating ketogenic, it's about getting the most benefit from the foods we eat and maximizing the advantages of being in a ketogenic state. Combining ketogenic eating with angiogenesis inhibiting food and metabolic reconditioning movement is the eugenics of weight loss plans. So as I have taught this plan over the last 5 years, I have to say, like, as I read more and I follow different people who are also talking about the science, right? And that's important, the science of ketogenic eating, right? I find, like, I say to myself, and I say this in all with all humbleness, this is a really good plan. It really is effective. It really does help people in so many ways other than just weight loss. And so, and this is another reason why initially I was like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write another book, right? Because, like, you know, the thing is, get all of these books underneath your belt. You know, you've written 10 books and da. But I believe in my program and in this science so much that I'm like, I'm not writing another book. I am expanding on the book that I wrote because this concepts have not been inundated or spread far enough or wide enough. And that is what I want to do, right? Because it's not about buying a whole bunch of expensive supplements or you having to eat things that are the most expensive things in a store. Oh no, get goji berries because they are a superfood and, you know, it's going to change your whole life if you eat goji berries every day. Like, goji berries isn't native to every place in the world. So everybody shouldn't be eating goji berries, right? Like, there's other concepts that I have around this in terms of, like, it's not even just what we eat, it's also about the proportions of what we eat. Let's take nuts, for example, right? So when you're on a low carb plan or a ketogenic plan, people tend to say, oh, well, I can eat nuts. I love nuts. I'm going to eat a lot of it. I'm going to make almond meal bread and almond meal this, and I'm going to use it. We're not really designed to substitute and eat the equivalent amount of wheat bread and almond bread, right? We have to really think about that in terms of proportions of, and this is another aspect that I do want to include in the book of, like, how we're eating things. We have to think about the proportions that is natural to us to eat. All right. So again, and I say this all the time, I think in concept of when was the time when we knew that we had much better health than what we have now, right? So we don't even have to go back to paleo times or, 1,000 years ago. If we went back 100, 150 years ago, where we raised our own animals and grew our own food, like, that alone will get us to a much healthier place than where we are right now. So I go back to that, right? Would you be eating this proportion of almonds if you literally had a farm and a few dozen almond trees, right? Not even a few dozen. Like if you had a farm for just your family, you probably have one or two. You wouldn't even have a few dozen. And how much time would it take you to crack open all of those almonds to make some meal out of it? Like, you probably wouldn't be doing that every day. I'm just saying, think about that. So not just what you eat, but how much of it that you eat. You have to think about it in that respect. All right, so let's go to the next part that says, why 40 days and not 21 days? All right, so we all know, and I've done them before, this is a 21-day challenge, a 7-day challenge, a 10-day challenge. All of those things has its place, but here's why I chose 40 days instead of 21. Often we hear it takes 21 days to create a habit. No one knows for sure exactly where that number came from. The best guess is a widely popular book, a 1960s book called Cybogenics by Maxwell Maltz, a plastic surgeon who turned psychologist, who noticed his patients seemed to take about 21 days to get used to their new faces. In the preface of Cybernetics, Dr. Maxwell Maltz wrote, "It usually requires a minimum of about 21 days to affect any perceptible change in mental image. Following plastic surgery, it takes about 21 days for the average patient to get used to his new face. When an arm or leg is amputated, the phantom limb persists for about 21 days. People must live in a new house for about 3 weeks before it begins to seem like home. These and many other commonly observed phenomena tend to show that it requires a minimum about 21 days for an old mental image to dissolve and a new one to gel." So that is, I'm reading this book. That is from Macronutrient Manipulation's book. I'm feeling a little old right now because I'm about to put on my glasses because I'm reading directly from my book. When I wrote the book, I wasn't wearing glasses to read. I just want to say that. So I'm not very happy right now, but we're going to do what we got to do. All right. All right. I got some fingerprints on me. Okay. But researchers have since studied different types of habit formation to figure out how long it takes to create a habit. In a study of 96 people over a 12-week period at the University of London College, each person chose one new habit for 12 weeks and reported each day on whether they did the behavior and how automatic the behavior felt. Researchers find that the habit creation can vary from person to person based on the amount of effort it takes to complete the task. For example, participants whose habit was drinking water on a daily basis were able to create that habit much quicker than someone doing 50 sit-ups every day. Drinking water has a low barrier habit, where sit-ups require greater commitment, energy, and time. Researchers found that the length of time can vary from 18 days for low barrier habits to as much as 264 days for more complex habits. However, the peak of habit building occurs around day 40. So, many of the different types of habits that a person can incorporate into their lifestyle, an average, right, is about 40, how long it takes to develop a habit, right? This is based on this particular research, right? Because we know where the 21-day thing came from. It came from a plastic surgeon, but now researchers like, why 21 days? What else can we look at, right? Besides the 21 days, all right? In the past, I have recommended and even led clients through 21-day diets and exercise programs. However, in my experience, most people don't make it a lasting change with just 3 weeks of behavior change. When the 21 days are over, they are very likely to go back to previous habits, giving more credence in my mind, to the research that it takes longer than 21 days to make a lasting change. The type of lifestyle we live is composed of daily habits, from what we choose to eat, which is normally not a conscious effort, but habitual patterns of food, to how we move and how we manage stress. During the mR40 method phase 1, we're recreating your habits to restore your physical, mental, and emotional health. Committing to 40-day plan not only allows you to break less healthy habits, but also establishing new ones that are much more likely to stick. All right, so last thing that we're going to read today. The history of 40-day transformations. So again, more credence as to why I chose 40 as a number. The designation of 40 days has been a significant period of time that allows transformation, renewal, repair, regeneration, and rebirth to occur in both physical and spiritual well-being for thousands of years across many faiths, cultures, and traditions. According to Islamic history, the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, would pray and fast in the cave of Hira for 40 days to attain spiritual renewal before he received the divine message of prophethood. In Judaism, there's a mystical practice that says one who seeks an answer to their prayers should pray the same prayer request for 40 consecutive days. And the prophet Moses, peace be upon him, is believed to have spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, where he received the 10 Commandments. 40 days is also significant for Christians who fast for 40 days during Lent. And all aforementioned Abrahamic faith, it is also believed that when God sought to purify the world, the rains of the flood lasted for 40 days and 40 nights before the prophet Noah and his people emerged from the ark. Peace be upon him. With many other cultures and practices around the world, 40 days also holds much significance in traditional practice. In China, Africa, and Latin America, a new mother is confined to her home for 40 days after she gives birth, which time she is cared for by family and visiting friends, and given time for her body to be restored, to bond with her new baby, and to recuperate from her pregnancy and labor. Even when we look at the physiology of the human body, we see renewal in many ways using a 40-day pattern. Adult skin cells, on average, take 40 days to renew. Our red blood cells start dying from 40 days onward to replace with new life-sustaining ones. It's with this knowledge and tradition in mind that I developed the mR40 method, the 40-day metabolic reset. So that is why I call it the mR40 method. It is how we are going forward with the 4 concepts. Chapter 2 is called Eat, Stop, Eat, Intermittent Fasting. And we are going to discuss that in length next week, right? I don't want to get into it right now because it is actually one of the longer chapters. Not too long because I don't want it to be an academic book. I want it to be very clear concepts that you can immediately apply to your lifestyle. But that is why it is called the mR40 method. Thank you very much for tuning in to my live reading and rewrite of my book, The mR40 Method, which is not available for purchase right now because we are rewriting it. I'm hoping to have it done and out at the beginning of the year. But in the meantime, you can join me every Tuesday at 11 a.m. here on any of my social medias so that we can go through each concept together. And I encourage you to start applying it. So next week we will talk about intermittent fasting. If you have questions around intermittent fasting, you can go ahead and and prepare to ask them for next week, right? So we'll keep the questions on subject matter. And if you found this helpful, remember to save it, comment, share, right? You could be helping somebody you don't know that you're helping by introducing them to the concepts of the mR40 method when they watch the video on your profile. So be sure to share, be sure to give me a thumbs up in the comments so that the interweb will know that the content is worth sharing. All right. All right, inshallah, I will talk to you guys next Tuesday, 11 a.m. But I will talk to you before that. In fact, Facebook people, YouTube people, not sure if we're going to be on Instagram. I'm actually going to have a conversation with Dr. Sophia Shabazz this Thursday. And we are going to talk about insulin resistance, diabetes, dementia, and all of the things that is related to that. So be sure that you put it on your schedule. I'm going to post today the time and all of the details. All right. Talk to you next week or talk to you on Thursday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.